So this is the CLAT paper, Andy. So we have taken this to make you know how the CLAT paper usually is there in the examination, and to tell you that what parts of the paper with respect to current affairs are very important. Okay. So what I'll do is today I'll just explain you in brief how to make sure you can approach the CLAT examination with respect to current affairs. Adamantna? So current affairs is almost very important in every aspect of every examination. But with respect to CLAT, we need to go in detail. Detail analysis is very important. So in Raos Academy, what we do is we'll make sure we'll give you the Hindu newspapers. So we'll ask our students to make sure we'll read the Hindu newspapers by themselves, and even we'll explain them. We'll explain them the backstory also, what exactly happened. So what we'll do is from those only we will prepare the question papers and we'll prepare the questions on the singular topic. Okay. Now, if we go to this now, so you know very clearly the duration of this CLAT is 2 hours, and we have a maximum mark of 150 here. Okay, and so if you see the contents of the question paper here very clearly, so you have a booklet of question paper. Everyone knows it. When you're talking about the booklet here, so what happens is you have 5 sections here. You have 5 sections there. The first one is English language. Second one is current affairs, including general knowledge. Third one is legal reasoning. Fourth is logical reasoning. Fifth one is quantitative techniques. Okay, so quant, we say it. Okay, so here are the question numbers that are being given the question paper, and they'll initially give it in the starting page itself. So in which sections you have section A, section B, or part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. Okay, so now with respect to current affairs, it is in part 2 or section B, it is in. Okay, so what we do is, if you see the questions from 31 to 65, okay, they are all the questions with respect to what? Current affairs. Okay, so there are the questions with what? Current affairs. They are very important. Now, let us see the nature of questions, how they ask, and in what model they ask, usually in CLAT examination. Okay, now, so the first, if you see the first section, we have already seen the first section is the English language. Okay, so in English language, it is completely with respect to comprehensions. Okay, so they give you a comprehension and they'll give you the questions that are related to the comprehensions also. Okay, and you have to have, see, the first thing what we at Raos Academy do is we'll make sure our students are very good in English with the English paper, that is the Hindu. Okay, so the starting of CLAT lies with what? Reading the Hindu paper. Okay, so what we do is, so this is how if you read every day this Hindu paper, obviously you can easily make sure you can easily analyze this comprehensions given in the examinations, and you can put the answers also. Okay, so this is with respect to these comprehensions. Okay, so totally you'll be having somewhere around 6 passages, if I'm not wrong. 5. Yeah, 6 passages you have, because every passage will have 5 questions each. Now, so the next section, what we are dealing with right now is the current affairs, that is including general knowledge. Okay. Now, if you see this current affairs portion, so most of the current affairs, what in CLAT they give you is, they give you most of the time that have been repeated in the newspapers. So we have to have a stringent knowledge in the newspapers every time. Now, with respect to this current affairs, which we talk about this, it will be given in a passage way. Okay, like what you see in this comprehensions, reading comprehensions, even the same way they'll be giving the current affairs also in the passage manner. So when talking about the passage manner, if you see, the former governor of a state and National Democratic Alliance candidate Draupadi Murmu was elected the 15th president of India, the first tribal woman to be elected to the position and the youngest as well. So when you're talking about this article, if you see very clearly, This article was talking entirely about what? Indian political structure. They're talking about Indian political structure. So they talk about what? They're talking about what? One is the president, okay, and they're talking about the majority party. They're talking about what? Majority party. Okay, so this is what the entire article was talking about. They're talking about BJP government of Raghubar Das. Okay, Miss Murmu hails from the Santal tribe. Okay, from Santal tribe and was born in the district of Mayurbhanj, coming up the hard way in life. Okay, so the entire article was talking about the President of India, Draupadi Murmu, very clearly. Okay, so what they do is, even then you have an article on this. So what we have to know is the first point. The article was also on what? The President of India. So what, with respect to President of India, what we have to do is, with respect to general knowledge, we have to make sure our static part is very good. What do you understand by the static part here? First of all, we need to have the analysis of all the presidents in deep. Starting from 1947, we need to know all the presidents of India who have taken charge as President of India in India. Okay, so that is one thing we have to do. The second thing is, we have to remember the names of the president also. Okay, names of the president also. And when we're talking about the names of the presidents, you have to know, you have to see their tenure also. That is very important. When you look after the tenure, you must know who has done the shortest time, who has done the longest time. Okay, so with respect to one topic, you have any information, you have to grab the entire information. Okay, that is the first point you need to know. Okay, so with respect to president, the first one, the static part has to be very, very clear. When I talk about the static part, I meant to say, we have to go a little, you have to have a little understanding on Indian polity. Okay, so in part 5 of Indian constitution, you have a topic called as union executive. Okay, so when you're talking about union executive, at least a basic knowledge you have to have is, how is a president elected? Okay, and what are the powers of the president? Okay, so basic article numbers with respect to the president, with respect to his election, with respect to his impeachment procedure, with respect to the bills that can be passed. Every bill obviously has to be signed by the president of India. Okay, so that is what is very important. Okay, so how is the president impeached? Okay, if the president's seat is vacant, who will take over his seat? Okay, so that is how you have to have a basic analysis of the topic. So that is what a static part is, and we will be explaining here what is the power, like why is president so important in India. Okay, so we have taken this entire presidential system, what we have taken in India, that is, we have taken from what? We have taken from the British parliamentary type of system. Okay, there we have what? The king there, and we have the president over here. Okay, so president is an important part of the entire Indian constitution and entire India also. Okay, now, so we'll talk about the static portion. The second one is the names of the presidents, and we'll talk about the tenure of the president. And since we're talking about Draupadi Murmu right now, she hails from where? Okay, so she's from Odisha. She belongs to a tribe called as, she belongs to Santal tribe. Okay, she's the 15th president of India. Okay, so these are some areas where we need to cover in general. Okay, since I'm talking about here, we're talking about one more thing. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi, here if you see, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the first to greet Miss Murmu at her residence in New Delhi after the third round of counting showed that she had crossed the halfway mark. So usually when talking about the president elections, what happens? Okay, so చెప్పాం కదా, స్టాటిక్ పోర్షన్లోనే when we are dealing with so called the president, మొత్తం అంతా మాట్లాడతామాట. We'll cover the entire structure over there. Okay, ఇప్పుడు ఈ when you have uh, uh, president of India called as Draupadi Murmu ఉన్నారనుకోండి, on whom, like, she won the elections against whom? What is the difference of votes she has won? Okay, every inch by inch we have to know. That is very important in what? This. Okay, now, if you go to the, see, చెప్పాం కదా అంతా, this entire article was talking about what? Only President Murmu గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. ఓకే, అండ్ హర్ లైఫ్ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నారు, వేర్ షీ హెయిల్స్ ఫ్రమ్ మాట్లాడుతున్నారు, అండ్ ఇంకోటి ఏంటి, షీ వాజ్ బీన్, తను ఇనీషియల్గా ప్రెసిడెంట్ అవ్వకముందు షీ సర్వ్డ్ యాజ్ అన్ ఎమ్మెల్యే అని చెప్తున్నారు ఇక్కడ, ఫ్రమ్ బీజు జనతా దళ్ పార్టీ గురించి. సో ఇట్ వాజ్ ఎంటైర్లీ అబౌట్ వాట్? ఓన్లీ ప్రెసిడెంట్ ద్రౌపది ముర్ము అండ్ ద మెజారిటీ పార్టీ కాల్ ఇస్ బీజేపీ. right now. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, so you have to know even a small analysis of who conducts the elections. అసలు ప్రెసిడెంట్ ఎలక్షన్స్ ఎవరు కండక్ట్ చేస్తారు? The president elections will be conducted by the election commission of India. Okay, with respect to the parliament, who conducts the election? So the elections with respect to Lok Sabha, the elections with respect to Rajya Sabha will be conducted by whom? Obviously the election commission of India. స్టేట్స్ లో కూడా ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా. యూ హ్యావ్ టు నో ఈచ్ బై ఈచ్. అంటే ఒకదానికి ఇంకోటి ఎలా ఉంటుందంటే చైన్ లింక్ ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఈజ్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఓకే, నౌ సో ఐ టోల్డ్ యూ కదా, ఎవ్రీ పార్ట్ ఈస్ వెరీ ఎసెన్షియల్ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు వాట్ దిస్ ఎంటైర్ థింగ్. నౌ see the questions. So ఈ ఆర్టికల్ ఇప్పుడు దే హ్యావ్ గివెన్ వాట్ ఈ కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్ దాంట్లో ద ఫస్ట్ వన్ ఈజ్ వాట్ దిస్ ఎంటైర్ పారాగ్రాఫ్, and on this paragraph what they do is they'll give you 5 questions. Okay na? So we have to see what the 5 questions are also. Let us see that. Okay, just see the questions. I'm not here to analyze the answers here, but I just tell you how to analyze the questions. If a current affair is coming in the newspaper ఏదైనా కరెంట్ అఫైర్ వస్తే దాన్ని మనం ఎలా అనలైజ్ చేస్తాము అని చెప్పేసి మనం చెప్తాం. ఫర్ నెక్స్ట్ క్లాసెస్లో వీ డూ ద సేమ్ థింగ్ ఆబ్వియస్లీ. సో వీ విల్ పుట్ ఆన్ అ న్యూస్ పేపర్ హియర్. దీని నుంచి ఎలాంటి క్వశ్చన్స్ రావచ్చు. సో ద కీ టు వాట్ క్లియర్ ద కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్ ఈజ్ ద ప్రీవియస్ ఇయర్ క్వశ్చన్స్. ఎప్పుడైనా సరే అంటే వెన్ యూ కీప్ ఆన్ డూయింగ్ ప్రీవియస్ ఇయర్ క్వశ్చన్స్, వాట్ విల్ హ్యాపెన్, యువర్ బ్రెయిన్ విల్ ట్యూన్ ఇన్ సచ్ ఏ వే దట్ యూ విల్ ఆల్సో మేక్ షూర్ ఏదైనా ఒక ఆర్టికల్ చదివితే ఇలాంటి క్వశ్చన్ రావచ్చు, దిస్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ క్వశ్చన్ కెన్ కమ్. దిస్ ఈస్ వాట్ వీ డూ. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ వన్. సో సీ దిస్ వన్. Before Draupadi Murmu, India had only one other female president, Pratibha Patil. When did Pratibha Patil serve as the president of India? I told you this. You have to know the names of what all the presidents of India and the tenure. అంటే ఎప్పుడు సర్వ్ చేసిన చెప్పాం కదా. సో దట్ ఈస్ వన్ థింగ్. అందుకే దట్ ఈస్ వేర్ ద క్వశ్చన్ వాజ్ ఆస్క్డ్. అర్థమైందా? సో ప్రెసిడెంట్ గురించి కావాల్సిన మొత్తం అడుగుతున్నాడు వాడు. సో ఐ టోల్డ్ యూ దిస్. సో యూ హ్యాడ్ అ క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్ దిస్ రైట్ నౌ. అంతే కదా. సో యూ హ్యాడ్ అ క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్ వాట్? యూ హ్యాడ్ అ క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్ దిస్. Okay, next one. You see this? President Murmu has earlier served as governor of which state? చెప్పాం కదా, ద్రౌపది ముర్ము గురించి we need to have the entire president of India గురించి we need to know the entire information అన్నమాట. Collective information has to be there. So we will read about the entire information about whom? Draupadi Murmu గురించి we'll read about the entire information there, and we will have to what? Take care of this. అంటే చెప్పాను కదా, వెన్ యూ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ ప్రెసిడెంట్ ద్రౌపది ముర్ము విల్ హ్యావ్ టు నో హర్ లైఫ్. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఎలా వచ్చారు, వేర్ షీ వాజ్ బోర్న్, అర్థమవుతుందా? అండ్ డస్ షీ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ అవార్డ్స్, ఏదైనా అవార్డ్స్ ఉన్నాయా, ఏదైనా ప్రెస్టీజియస్ ఆనరరీ అవార్డ్స్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయా? ఓకే, ఆర్ వీ కెన్ టాక్ అబౌట్ initially did she contest any elections, like is she an MLA or initially is she an MP? ఓకే, అండ్ విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ ఈ లైఫ్ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నప్పుడు లైక్ బేసిక్గా విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ స్టడీస్ ఆల్సో. విల్ స్టీ అబౌట్ స్టడీస్ ఆల్సో. మనం ఎప్పుడైనా వెన్ వీర్ టైపింగ్ ఆన్ అబౌట్ వన్ నేమ్ విల్ డెఫినెట్లీ గెట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఎంటైర్లీ ఆన్ ద వికీపీడియా ఆర్ సమ్వేర్ ఇన్ ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇన్ చాట్ జీపీటీ ఆర్ ఏఐ. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో దట్ ఈస్ హౌ వీ నీడ్ టు వాట్ కంప్లీట్, వీ హ్యావ్ టు హ్యావ్ కంప్లీట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఆన్ one person generally, because she is the highest portfolio in India. That is the reason why you have to have. Okay, the second thing. Let's see the next question, the third question. The first president elections was held by the election commission in which year? I told you kada meeku tenure anedi the first president Dr. Rajendra Prasad eppudu ayyaru. He was the longest serving president. Adamavutunda? So you need to know that. Okay, so we'll be making sure you have what the continuous, అంటే వీఆర్ మేకింగ్ ష్యూర్ ఒక ఆర్టికల్ తీసుకొని విల్ మేక్ ష్యూర్ ది ఎంటైర్ అంబ్రెల్లా ఈస్ బీన్ కవర్డ్. ఓకే, నౌ సో ద ఫస్ట్ ప్రెసిడెన్షియల్ ఎలక్షన్ వాజ్ హెల్డ్ బై ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ ఇన్ విచ్ ఇయర్ అని అడిగారు అనమాట. ఇప్పుడు అయ్యింది అని అడుగుతున్నాడు వాడు. ఓకే, ద ఫోర్త్ క్వశ్చన్. ద రాష్ట్రపతి భవన్ వాజ్ ఫార్మర్లీ నోన్ యాజ్ ద వైస్రాయ్స్ ప్యాలెస్ డ్యూరింగ్ colonial times. Where did the governor general reside before the transfer of British capital to Delhi in 1911? ఓకే, మీకు గుర్తుందా? ఇందులో స్టాటిక్ పోర్షన్ అని చెప్పాను, గుర్తుందా? స్టాటిక్ పార్ట్. ఇప్పుడు అంటే రాష్ట్రపతి భవన్ ఈజ్ అ ప్లేస్ వేర్ ద ప్రెసిడెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా లివ్స్. ఇనిషియల్గా ఇట్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ as వైస్రాయ్స్ ప్యాలెస్. బట్ వాళ్ళు అడుగుతుంది ఏంటి? టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ గవర్నర్ జనరల్స్. ఓకే, వెన్ యూ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ గవర్నర్ జనరల్, okay, this is a part of what? Indian polity. In Indian polity there is a topic called as historical aspect. Okay, you have what? Historical aspects. Okay, historical aspects and historical acts we have regulating act ani. Okay, na? We have so-called PITS Act and చెప్పేసి, we have Charter Act and చెప్పేసి, Councils Act and చెప్పేసి, we have number of acts and mata. So when we're reading these acts, we'll get to know who is the governor, governor of Bengal, governor of Madras, okay, and then slowly governor generals, okay, and then you have viceroys. Okay, then in those only, when you're covering about this static portion, okay, we will make sure you have to have this knowledge on what the governor generals, ఈ గవర్నర్ జనరల్స్ అనేవారు ఎక్కడ ఉన్నారు. సి ఇప్పుడు ఏంటి, దిస్ క్వశ్చన్ కాల్డ్ as 34th క్వశ్చన్ చూసారా, దిస్ 4th క్వశ్చన్ వ్యూ, when you read the question, the Rashtrapati Bhavan was formerly known as a viceroy's palace during colonial times, we know it, where did the governor general reside before the transfer of British capital to Delhi in 1911 అన్నాడు, 1911. Okay, he's talking about that era. Okay, so when you're talking about this, so question itself will be having answers sometimes. Okay, so we need to make sure you read the question properly, and based on that we'll have what, this marks. Otherwise we can easily what, put on the right answer here. Okay, next one, see this. 35th question. Who among the following was a candidate in the elections for the Vice President of India in 2022? Okay, so ఏమంటున్నాడు, who among the following was a candidate in the elections for the Vice President of India in 2022? He was talking about. Is it R. Venkatraman, Yashwant Sinha, M. Venkaiah Naidu, and Margaret Alva? Okay, so when we are talking about this, the both the articles on president, and we'll see the articles on what, the vice president also. So the entire first article, మీరు ఏదైతే ఫస్ట్ ఆర్టికల్ చూసారో రిగార్డింగ్ ద్రౌపది ముర్ము, you have to have even what, because the articles are around vice president and president of India. Okay, so we need to cover entire articles with respect to our president and vice president, their names, their tenure is very much important when you prepare for these type of questions. And again, I told you very much, the previous year questions are essential to make sure that your brain will have an analytical part. If you read any article, yeah, దీనికి లింక్ ప్రెసిడెంట్కి లింక్ వైస్ ప్రెసిడెంట్ ఉంటుంది కదా యూజువల్గా, సో దీనికి లింక్ ఇది ఉంటుంది అని చెప్పేసి యూ కెన్ హ్యావ్ అ గ్రేట్ అనాలిసిస్. ఓకే, దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ ఐ మెంట్ టు సే దిస్. ఓకే, నౌ so so whatever you have seen right now, so this article was covering what, the 5 questions from what, this చెప్తున్నాను కదా, they'll give you what, the entire article. ఎందుకు ఇచ్చావు, సో యూ మైట్ ఆస్క్ మీ, సార్ మనకి ఈ ఇయర్లో ఈ ఆర్టికల్ వచ్చింది, ఈ ఎగ్జామ్లోని దీని గురించి వస్తుంది ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది అంటే, న్యూస్ పేపర్స్ ఆర్ ద బెస్ట్ సోర్సెస్ అండ్ దే విల్ టెల్ యూ వెరీ క్లియర్లీ. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో న్యూస్ పేపర్స్ మీద, సపోజ్ ఈ ఇయర్ కంటిన్యూస్గా మీకు సుప్రీంకోర్టు గురించి వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, న్యూస్ పేపర్లో ఎవ్రీ టైమ్ ఇన్ ద హెడ్లైన్స్ యూ విల్ డెఫినెట్లీ గెట్ ఎ క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్ సుప్రీంకోర్టు. సుప్రీంకోర్టు ఎప్పుడు వచ్చింది, ఎప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ అయ్యింది, ద ఫస్ట్ సుప్రీంకోర్టు జడ్జి ఎవరు, ఫస్ట్లో ఎంతమంది స్ట్రెంత్ ఉండేవారు, ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద కరెంట్ స్ట్రెంత్ రైట్ నౌ. ఓకే, సుప్రీంకోర్టు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేసిన కొత్త ఎలక్షన్స్కి సుప్రీంకోర్టు రీసెంట్ జడ్జ్మెంట్స్ ఏం చేసింది, ఓకే, after it gave judgments also, which judgments have been reverted back, farm laws kani, okay, so recent judgments with respect to Supreme Court, Ayodhya case, whatever it is. Okay, so if an article was seen in the newspaper headlines every time, make sure that is a very important question. అదొక్కటే కాదు, ఇప్పుడు పాలిటీ గురించి మాట్లాడలే, ఇప్పుడు ఇరాన్ వార్ అవుతుందండి, యూ హ్యావ్ దిస్ ఇరాన్ వార్ రైట్ నౌ, యూ విల్ బి హ్యావింగ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఆన్ ఇరాన్ వార్. ఓకే, కంప్లీట్ ఇరాన్ గురించి అండ్ యుఎస్ గురించి అయితే దే టాక్ అబౌట్ కంప్లీట్లీ యుఎస్ఏ, ఐ విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ కంప్లీట్లీ ఇరాన్. ఇరాన్ గురించి మొత్తం వాటి హిస్టరీ ఇన్ ద సేమ్ ప్యాసేజ్ ఫార్మాట్లోనే హీల్ టాక్ ఎంటైర్లీ అబౌట్ ఇరాన్, బట్ హీల్ గివ్ యూ క్వశ్చన్స్ లైక్ Iran is bordered by how many countries? India is the second largest importer of crude oil from Iran, because India and Iran have a very close partnership. అండ్ రెడ్ సీ గురించి మాట్లాడతాడు, పర్షియన్ గల్ఫ్ గురించి మాట్లాడతాడు, కంట్రీస్ ఏవైతే బార్డరింగ్ చేస్తే అడుగుతాడు. ఓకే, సో ఈ ఇరాన్లోని ఎవరు ప్రెసిడెంట్ అడుగుతాడు. ఓకే, సో దే టాక్ అబౌట్ ఎవ్రీ పార్ట్. ఇరాన్లోని ఎక్కువ మంది ముస్లిమ్స్ అనే కమ్యూనిటీ వాళ్ళు ఎక్కువ మంది ఎవరున్నారు, ఈజ్ ఇట్ సున్నీస్, okay, or someone else. Okay, so that is how, for example, the questions will come. So newspapers are the base for what the CLAT current affairs. ఓకే, ఇవి వస్తున్నాయి, ఈ ఏరియా వస్తుంది, వాడు మహా అయితే 5 ఏరియాస్ తీసుకుంటాడు. విల్ టేక్ ఓన్లీ 5 ఏరియాస్, దట్స్ ఇట్. వన్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ రిలేషన్స్ క్వశ్చన్, one question on polity, one question on what you may have on what the schemes గురించి అడగచ్చు, అర్థమవుతుందా? వన్ ఎకానమీ క్వశ్చన్, ఓకే, అండ్ వన్ మోర్ కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్ క్వశ్చన్. హీ మే ఆస్క్ ఇన్ ఎనీవే. ఫర్ ఇప్పుడు ఇది ప్రెసిడెంట్ గురించి ఐ హ్యావ్ టేకెన్ అ క్వశ్చన్ పేపర్ ఆఫ్ 2023 ఈవెన్ దో, అర్థమవుతుంది. 2025లో కూడా దే వర్ ఆస్కింగ్ అబౌట్ ద ఫస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్. 2025 ద ఫస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ వాజ్ అబౌట్ ఇండియా యుఎస్ రిలేషన్షిప్. ఫస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ అదే అడిగాడు. ఇప్పుడు ఆ ఇండియా యుఎస్ రిలేషన్షిప్ అడుగుతున్నప్పుడు ఇండియా ఎంత పర్సెంటేజ్ ట్రేడ్ చేస్తుంది, హౌ మచ్ పర్సెంట్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ ఈస్ హ్యాపెనింగ్ బిట్వీన్ ఇండియా అండ్ యుఎస్ఏ. Okay, he was asking about what India recently signed this pact. Which pact has signed by India? Okay, India has signed a free trade agreement with USA or not? So these are the questions that have been asked continuously. 2025, they have asked the questions. Okay, now, so I think you understood. He will give a question, he'll give a topic on one personality. We have to make analysis out of it. Okay, but we will cover the entire aspects of this in the class itself. Okay, the next one, the next current affair, we'll see. See this? Okay, so if you see this, this article was talking about science and technology, S&T, tech గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాడండి. Okay, he's talking about mainly what, tech గురించి. He was talking about how Google has come into existence. Okay, and he was talking about artificial intelligence, and he was talking about development of LAMDA. It's called as what? LAMDA for months. It's a software. It's talking about Lemine recounts for many dialogues he had with LAMDA, in which two talked about various topics ranging from technical to philosophical issues. These led to ask if the software program is sentient. Okay, in April, Lemoine explained his perspective in an internal company document intended to only for Google executives. Okay, so it was talking about what? One, అంటే ఎప్పుడో ఫార్మ్ అయిన ఒక సాఫ్ట్వేర్ గురించి ఇప్పుడు ఈస్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ మెయిన్ అబౌట్ గూగుల్ అండి. ఓకే, హీస్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ గూగుల్. ఓకే, హీస్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ వన్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్. ఇదంతా టెక్నాలజికల్ ఆస్పెక్ట్స్లోని ఆ ఇయర్ కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్లో, ఆ ఇయర్ న్యూస్ పేపర్లో వచ్చింది కాబట్టి హీ వాస్ టేకింగ్ దిస్ డైరెక్ట్ వన్ ఫ్రమ్ వేర్, ఇక్కడ గూగుల్ ఇంజనీర్ గురించి. ఓకే, సైంటిఫిక్ అమెరికన్. ఓకే, సో ఈస్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ ది ఎంటైర్ థింగ్ ఓవర్ దేర్. ఓకేనా? సో ది ఎంటైర్ ఆర్టికల్ వాస్ టాకింగ్ మెయిన్లీ అబౌట్ వాట్? గూగుల్. ఒక టెక్నాలజికల్ ఆస్పెక్ట్ అనమాట. దే కెన్ ఆస్క్ యూ ఎనీథింగ్. ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ టెక్నాలజీ గురించి అడిగాడు. అదే విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు ఇండియా, ఇఫ్ యూ సీ, ఇవాళ లెట్ us ప్రిపేరింగ్ ఫర్ దిస్ ఇయర్, టుడే, డే ఆఫ్టర్. సో మొన్న ఎప్పుడో స్కై రూట్ అని చెప్పేసి దెర్ ఇస్ వన్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ రీసెంట్లీ లాంచ్డ్ రాకెట్. Sky Route is what? It's a private company. It's not ISRO. ISRO is not government funded. But Sky Route is what? A private entity. They might ask you about Sky Route completely. That's technology kada. Technological revolutions ఏమైతే అవుతున్నాయో, they ask questions on it. They may talk about gene therapy. They may talk about gene editing. Whatever is necessary, they'll ask you. Okay. Now, so in the same way, technological aspect is taken. When you take every previous year question చూస్తే ఎక్కడో టెక్నాలజీ మీద ఈజ్ ఆస్కింగ్ క్వశ్చన్స్, టెక్నాలజికల్ రెవల్యూషన్ మీద ఆస్కింగ్ క్వశ్చన్స్. Okay, so in the same way, this one is also the same thing. Okay, it's talking about Google mainly. Okay, so let us see what the questions are, how the questions are coming into existence. Whose name has been replaced with one in the passage above? ఇక్కడ one ఉంది, ఇక్కడ అండి. In the journal Mind in 1950, mathematician 1 proposed a test to determine whether a machine was capable of exhibiting intelligent behavior called as artificial intelligence. Okay, a game of imitation of some of the human cognitive functions. Okay, it's called as Alan Turing. Okay, Alan Turing was the one who said very clearly that artificial intelligence is not so great as human brains, because that artificial intelligence kuda, it was being programmed by whom? One ఒక పర్సన్ ఎవరో డెవలప్ చేస్తారు కదా యూజువల్గా. సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఇట్స్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో ఇక్కడ ఏంటి ఇలా ఇస్తారనమాట. సో whose name has been replaced with one in the passage above అన్నాడు అనమాట ఇక్కడ. ఓకే, సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు నో దిస్. ఈ LAMDA అంటే ఏంటి? We have to even work on the what? Previous year questions. So even in Raos Academy, what we do is we even work on what? The previous year questions, how these are coming to existence. దీని మీద బేస్ చేసుకొని వాట్ వీ డూ, ఇప్పుడు రీసెంట్ గా చాట్ జీపీటీ గురించి కానీ ఎవరు కనిపెట్టారు, హూ హెస్ ఫౌండెడ్ చాట్ జీపీటీ, హూ హెస్ ఫౌండెడ్ దిస్ ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్, ఆబ్వియస్లీ. సో విల్ టాక్ ఆన్ దోస్ ఇష్యూస్, విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ ఎవ్రీ ఆస్పెక్ట్ అనమాట. దాని గురించి ఉన్న సరౌండింగ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ మొత్తం విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ దిస్. ఓకే, నౌ సీ ద నెక్స్ట్ వన్. The next point. Gary Kasparov, then world chess champion, was defeated in 1997 by a supercomputer in a chess tournament. What was the name of the supercomputer? చెప్పాం కదా, గూగుల్ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు అంటే హీస్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ గూగుల్. గూగుల్ దేంట్లో ఉంటుంది? ఆబ్వియస్లీ ఇట్ ఈస్ అ సర్చ్ ఇంజిన్, అంతే కదా. ఇట్ ఇస్ ఇన్ సిస్టమ్. సో హీ వాస్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ సూపర్ కంప్యూటర్ ఇక్కడ. సో యూ నీడ్ టు నో అబౌట్ వాట్? ఈవెన్ సూపర్ కంప్యూటర్స్ ఆల్సో కంప్యూటర్. సో అప్పుడున్న ఫస్ట్ నుంచి, if a topic is on supercomputer, what we'll do, we'll start from the historical aspects. Okay, now the first supercomputer right now, current supercomputer also we'll talk about. Current supercomputer also we'll talk about. Adamotunda. So that is what, everything is based on the current affairs pattern which is there in the newspapers only. దాని నుంచే. సో we are continuously monitoring the newspapers. ఆ newspapers నుంచే we are taking out. Okay, any information we don't know, what we do, we give to the students, and we'll give the answers also here clearly. Okay, next one. See this. The Emperor's New Mind Concerning Computers, Minds and the Laws of Physics, published in 1989, was written by a British mathematician who won the Nobel Prize in Physics for 2020. Who was this mathematician? Donna Strickland, Peter Higgs, Max Tegmark and Roger Penrose. So, ఇదేమన్నాడు ఇక్కడ? ది ఎంపరర్స్ న్యూ మైండ్ కన్సర్నింగ్ కంప్యూటర్స్. ఇట్స్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ కంప్యూటర్స్. మొత్తం టెక్నాలజీ గురించి కదా మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు, సిస్టమ్ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు, గూగుల్ గురించి, ఓఎస్ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు, టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ సర్చ్ ఇంజిన్ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు. సో he was talking about the emperor's new mind concerning computers, minds and the laws of physics, published in 1989, was written by a British mathematician who won the Nobel Prize. I think he gave what here? He gave one hint anamata. What is the hint? He won what? Nobel Prize in Physics for 2020 anamata. That is what a hint here. So even though this question paper is of 2023, okay, current affair in Hindu, okay, has been published in the column called as Science and Technology. But దీనికి హింట్ ఏమి ఇచ్చాడు? 2020 నోబెల్ ప్రైజ్ యూనివర్స్ నుంచి ఇచ్చాడు వాడు. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో వీ హ్యావ్ టు కీప్ ఆన్ అనలైజింగ్ అనమాట, ఏంటి అని చెప్పేసి. ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ ఈజీ అండి. కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్ ఇస్ టఫ్ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు క్లాట్, నో డౌట్ ఫర్ షూర్. బికాస్ ఒక చైన్ లింక్ మీద ఇంకో చైన్ లింక్ అవుతూనే ఉంటాడు వాడు. ఓకే, ద అదర్ పార్ట్. Next question. What kind of computing model resembles the way in which biological neuron exchange signals in the human body? What kind of computing model resembles the way in which the biological neurons exchange signals in the human body? Okay, so this is all about what I told you very clearly. This is entirely what SNT, Science and Technology. Okay, is it neural network? Is it cognitive computing? Is it data mining? Is it natural language processing? ఓకే, మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా సరే యూ హ్యావ్ దిస్ బ్యూటిఫుల్ థింగ్ కాల్డ్ ఎస్ ఎలిమినేషన్ మెథడ్ అండి. ఎలిమినేషన్ మెథడ్ ఈస్ అ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ మెథడ్. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ యూ నో హౌ టు డూ ఎలిమినేషన్ మెథడ్, ఎలా అనుకున్నారు? ఇఫ్ యూ సీ ద 4 ఆప్షన్స్ రైట్ నౌ, అండ్ ఇఫ్ యూ థింక్ దిస్ 4 ఆప్షన్స్ లో ఎనీ వన్ ఆప్షన్ ఈస్ నాట్ కంపీటింగ్ ఆర్ నాట్ ఇన్ అటాచ్మెంట్ ఆర్ నాట్ ఇన్ లింక్ విత్ సో కాల్డ్ ద క్వశ్చన్, యూ కెన్ డైరెక్ట్లీ వాట్? క్రాస్ ఇట్ అవుట్. అర్థమవుతుందా? అలాగా నౌ యూ హ్యావ్ ఓన్లీ 3 ఆప్షన్స్ రైట్ నౌ. న్యాచురల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ప్రాసెసింగ్, కాగ్నిటివ్ కంప్యూటింగ్, ఏదో ఒకటి. ఫైనలీ యుల్ బి లెఫ్ట్ విత్ వన్. ఓకే, యూ నీడ్ సి ఇవన్నీ ఏంటంటే వాట్ ఈస్ కాగ్నిటివ్ కంప్యూటింగ్, వాట్ ఈస్ న్యూరల్ నెట్వర్క్. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ యూ నో దిస్ పాయింట్స్ యూ కెన్ ఈజీలీ go for what? Elimination methodologies. It all comes when you keep on reading newspapers. You have to start early, and this is very important. Okay, next one. What is the full form of LAMDA? It's called as Landing Macro Data Applications, Language Model for Dialogue Applications, Large Model Data Applications, Last Mile Dialogue Assessment. Okay, so even they have been taken it from the newspapers, and we have to go to the newspapers in general. Okay, that is where it lies. Usually ఏంటంటే what happens is by the end of, because every year the CLAT examination is in the month of December. So January నుంచి కానీ లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ డిసెంబర్ నుంచి కానీ we'll have to collect the newspapers. We'll write down all the important areas where the questions can come, usually the top 100 కానీ top 50 current affairs కానీ. So if you suppose if you write a topic called as BRICS organization, BRICS, so what we need to do is we need to go with the BRICS. We need to go with what A to Z అనమాట. కంప్లీట్గా ఎలా ఫామ్ అయింది, ఎప్పుడు ఫామ్ అయింది, దానికి లింక్ వచ్చింది, ఎలా వచ్చింది, ఆ G8 అప్పుడు ఫామ్ అయింది. సో వీ హ్యావ్ టు గో అగైన్ రీడ్ అబౌట్ G8. Complete information has to be there. In the same way, when we are reading the newspapers or when we are reading somewhere, okay, we'll have to extract the materials like this. Next one. You see this? Meta's newly released, fully trained. You know what is Meta's? Meta's newly released, fully trained large language AI model is called as what? Is it FTP? Is it OPT or HTTP or SMTP? Okay, so this is entirely what the same. Technological based question మాత్రమే. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, when you're talking about science and technology, SNT, you will have topics called as space technology. We will have talk on defense technology. We will have biotechnology. Okay, we will have any related information with respect to supercomputers. ఇవన్నీ ఏరియాస్ అన్నమాట. I need to cover these areas. Okay, whatever I'm writing here, I'll cover it entirely on space technology. I'll start from ISRO. I'll start from European Space Agency. ISRO, when it was formed, first space station ఎక్కడ ఉంది? తుంబా. Okay, అక్కడ నుంచి they have shifted towards Sriharikota. Why? Okay, so I'll talk about the entire detail about what space. I'll talk about entirely about defense. I'll talk about biotechnology completely. Supercomputers గురించి మాట్లాడతాను. If anything was given on AI, artificial intelligence, big data, machine learning, ఇవన్నీ టెక్నాలజీ కదా. మిషన్ లెర్నింగ్ అవ్వచ్చు. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ ఎనీథింగ్ వాజ్ ఆస్క్డ్ ఇన్ సో కాల్ లార్జ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ మోడల్. ఓకే, సో ఐ నీడ్ టు కవర్ దెమ్ ఇన్ డీటెయిల్. దీస్ ఆర్ ద సైడ్ హెడింగ్స్. ఓకే, విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు SNT, దీస్ ఆర్ వాట్ ద సైడ్ హెడింగ్స్. ఐ నీడ్ టు కవర్ దెమ్. ఓకే, నౌ ఇంకేమున్నాయి? స్పేస్ టెక్నాలజీ, డిఫెన్స్ టెక్నాలజీ, బయోటెక్నాలజీ, సూపర్ కంప్యూటర్స్ గురించి. అండ్ వీ హ్యావ్ వాట్? నానో టెక్నాలజీ. Technology, and the last one you have is nuclear technology. It's called as what? Nuclear technology. So SNT lo matrame, even whenever I take current affairs, I will cover up what? All these areas. I'll talk about sports column also. Sports gurinchi, if there's a topic on chess, I'll talk about starting from chess. If there's a current affair on so-called Paralympics, I'll talk about Paralympics. Okay, so with respect to sports, I'll cover all these sports. Pole vaulting gurinchi avvachu. Okay, javelin throw gurinchi avvachu. I'll talk about each and every point there very clearly. Okay, the next one. What is the name of AI-enabled legal research assistive tool launched by the Supreme Court of India in April 2021? Okay, is it called as Suram, GPT-3, Supace, and E-Codes? Okay, so this is also what? Idantha technology based kabatti. We will even cover what ఏదైతే వచ్చిందో, will cover all those areas. Okay, so you had a question on what? You see this, the paragraph what they have given, except LAMDA, only one question, what is the full form of it? And the remaining article, when you see, this article doesn't have any takeaway with the questions they have given. It is us to make sure that we have to what? Have a complete knowledge on what? Technology. That we will take care of it. Okay, next one. See this? Now this question, you see this question, they're talking about what? Sports. This is talking about what? Sports. That too they're talking about what? FIFA. Sports గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. It's talking about FIFA. So Germany played against Japan. As a result of FIFA's restrictions on players wearing one ante enti, this one is the first question they're talking about. Because the one is talking about what? The first question. What is the name of the armband which has been replaced with one in the passage above. So this is the one in the passage here, one in the passage. Ante kada. So is it free love, one love, pride and play love? So when you're talking about this, for example, recently Cristiano Ronaldo has retired from international sport. Now we're talking about this FIFA World Cup right now. We have to make sure we have to read about the entire thing about FIFA. Okay. So we'll collect all the information with respect to FIFA. See the question here. What is the name of the armband which has been replaced with what? One in the passage above anadamata. ఆ ఆర్మ్ బ్యాండ్ ఏదైతే ఉన్నదో అది ఇట్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ వాట్ రీప్లేస్డ్. ఓకే, విచ్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ రీప్లేస్డ్ వన్ ఇన్ ద ప్యాసేజ్ అబౌవ్. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమన్నాడు ఇక్కడ, యాజ్ ఎ రిజల్ట్ ఫీఫాస్ రెస్ట్రిక్షన్స్ ఆన్ ప్లేయర్స్ వేరింగ్ రెయిన్బో, ఆ బ్యాన్ అనేది ఇట్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ వాట్ రెస్ట్రిక్టెడ్. ఓకే, armbands during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, the German Football Association has taken the matter to the Court of Arbitration for Sports in a protest against FIFA's rule regarding the armband mean to support the community. ఇప్పుడైనా సరే, ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఇయర్ కూడా ఆఫ్టర్ ద వరల్డ్ కప్ ఇస్ డన్, ఫీఫా ఇస్ డన్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత దేర్ షెల్ బి ఎక్కడో దగ్గర ఆఫ్టర్ ద కంప్లీట్ ద గేమ్ ఇస్ డన్, they'll definitely talk about some restrictions. They'll definitely talk about one issue will come out, and then we have to focus on that issue. Something has happened. What has happened? Okay. So in the same way, after 2022 World Cup is done, now the German Football Association has taken the matter to what? Court of Arbitration of Sports. Okay. About this armband. Okay, that's what. So the entire article was talking mainly about what? The armband over here. Okay. Next one. See, so the first question is that. Let's say the name of which community has been replaced with two in the passage above. Two and let us see this. What is the two here? Okay, in a protest against FIFA's rule regarding the armband meant to support two community, the German players covered their lips in a team picture taken before their 2-1 defeat to Japan. Okay, na? So this passage doesn't give you answer here. We have to know the answer. So we have to know about what the current affair with respect to 2023. అంటే ఆ వరల్డ్ కప్ అయినప్పుడు తెలియాలి ఏ ట్రైబ్స్ ని సపోర్ట్ చేస్తూ వాళ్ళు గేమ్ ఆడారు, అర్థమవుతుందా? టు నో అబౌట్, అసలు ఎప్పుడైనా సరే ప్లేయర్స్ అనేవాళ్ళు ఆ ఆర్మ్ బ్యాండ్ వేసుకున్న, లిప్స్ మీద వేసుకున్న మీనింగ్ ఏంటి? యాజ్ అ కన్సర్న్ ఆఫ్ రికగ్నిషన్, అర్థమవుతుందా? వాళ్ళు ఫేస్ చేశారు, మేము వాళ్ళ గురించి ఆడుతున్నాం జనరల్గా అని చెప్పేసి టు అగైన్స్ వాట్ that one, they're doing this obviously. Okay, so that is one thing. Next one, on Wednesday Germany played against Japan. Before the game, FIFA warned the DFB, called German Football Association, of severe athletic fitness if they breach tournament regulations by allowing their what captain to wear one armband. Okay, so the entire article was talking about the same thing here. Okay, now armband గురించి మాట్లాడుతుంది. సో టూ దాంట్లో the name of which community has been replaced with two in the passage above: Kurdish, Rohingyas, Uyghur tribes, LGBTQ+. Okay, so the issue of LGBTQ+ is coming from a long time. The issue of Uyghur tribe is in China. Okay, Rohingyas we have seen in India, the illegal occupations of Rohingya tribe in India. They came from Myanmar initially. Myanmar lo akkada Cox's Bazar area lo. Okay, and the Kurdistan people. Is ISIS issue అవుతున్నప్పుడు ISIS has bombed the entire Kurdistan issue. The Kurdish people have no place to settle. Okay, so this is one thing. What is the name of the system used to monitor and regulate migrant laborers, which is used in Qatar and few other countries, and which came under heavy criticism in the build-up to the FIFA World Cup 2022? So it's talking about what? What is the name of the system used to monitor and regulate migrant laborers, which is used in Qatar and few other countries, which came under heavy criticism in the build-up to the FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar. Qatar జరిగింది కదా. So is it Idat, Khalifa, Kafala or Jazeera? Okay, when you read about these articles with respect to this FIFA, we'll have an entire information regarding this. Okay, so this article is completely on what? FIFA only. Okay, next one, let's see the next one. YouTuber Nas daily in one of his videos named him as the most generous billionaire who wanted to donate all his wealth to charity. But 10 months later, one is no longer a billionaire. One and our billionaires list lo. So, ilanti articles ni chusara. Ee articles enti we talk about Forbes millionaires list untayi kada, avi తీసుకుంటాం యూజువల్ గా, అర్థమవుతుందా? సో ఈ ఫోర్బ్స్ మిలియనర్స్ లిస్ట్ లోని వన్ లో ఎవరు ఉన్నారు? ఆబ్వియస్లీ Okay, one is no longer a billionaire. He is alleged to have caused massive losses worth 1 billion to investors known by his initials. He is a co-founder and former CEO of FTX, one of the biggest cryptocurrency exchange, which has recently filed for bankruptcy in the US. Once a billionaire with an estimated wealth of 26 billion at peak, according to Bloomberg, Forbes ఒకటి. Second one ఏంటి? We'll read about Bloomberg top 100 billionaires in the world. Bloomberg estimates one has seen his wealth been entirely wiped out, and one studied physics at MIT and traded currencies, futures, and exchange traded funds before moving to crypto trading, setting up into. So, we'll talk about Forbes, we'll talk about Bloomberg, we'll talk about what? Cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies. Okay, so this is one thing. Next one. One teamed up with Gary Wang, a former software engineer at Google and a fellow MIT graduate, to launch FTX in 2019. So, what is FTX? Okay. In 2009, the company offered trading on crypto tokens and derivatives. At the start of 2022, investors valued FTX and its US operations at $40 billion, one transfer. So, this entire thing is about what? Extracted. Extracted with edits and revisions from the Hindustan Times. Hindustan Times. From a newspaper only, ఇదంతా వచ్చింది అంటున్నాడు వాడు. Because this was in global news, cryptocurrencies గురించి. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో విల్ బి టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ దీస్ లిస్ట్ అనమాట. ఎలాగో విల్ రీడ్ అబౌట్ వాట్ ద ఫోర్బ్స్ మ్యాగజైన్ గురించి కానీ, బ్లూంబర్గ్ గురించి కానీ, విల్ రీడ్ ఇట్. But we have to know about the persons also very clearly. Now we'll see the questions also, how the questions are being framed up. See the first question here. See the first question. Which person's name has been replaced with one in the passage? Mike Novogratz, Brian Armstrong, Changpeng Zhao, and Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay, so a YouTube prakaranga, a list prakaranga, who was in the first place, we have to know. Okay, next one. Which hedge fund's name has been replaced with two in the above passage? BlackRock Advisors, Alameda Research, AQR Capital Management, and Man Group. Okay, so we have to read about what? The entire Bloomberg gurinchi and Forbes gurinchi when we read continuously. And if you read about what is this FTX is an organization, if you know it, if you read about cryptocurrencies, because we've seen the newspapers continuously, generally when you prepare for any other competitive examinations, we don't need any information on a private organization or an individual person. But when it comes to CLAT, it is very important. Individual organizations matter a lot. Private persons matter a lot. Private persons, that too, if they are top billionaires, suddenly they have raised with respect to any other formula. With formula, I'm talking about cryptocurrencies, Kani. Okay, anything, obviously, it's very important. Okay, now. Next article. The agriculture sector has experienced beyond growth in the past 2 years. The sector, which is the largest employer workforce, accounted for sizable 18.8% of gross value added of the country, registering a growth of 3.6% in 2020-2021 and 3.9% in 2021-2022. Growth in allied sectors. Agriculture and allied sectors is a very important topic in entire current affairs. So when you're talking about agriculture and allied sectors, what we do is, allied sector center, we talk about fisheries, we talk about poultry, we talk about cattle. Okay, we talk about the dairying, obviously. ఇదంతా ఒకటే అన్నమాట. Okay, India is the largest shrimp exporter generally. India is also the second place in fishing. Fisheries lo kuda India is in second position right now. Okay, so we'll talk about everything here. So this article is talking about what? Agriculture and allied activities. This is the entire article was talking about the same thing. Okay, so fisheries has been the major drivers of all overall growth. When measured in total value of agricultural production, India is ranked the 4th largest in the world. Post-independence, there was a need to import food grains due to the low productivity, stagnant food crop. So, which of the following is the largest exported agricultural product from India? Which of the following is the largest exported agricultural product from India? So, ఇవన్నీ చేయాలంటే when we read about agriculture, ఆ అగ్రికల్చర్ చెప్తున్నప్పుడు we'll be talking about crops, రైస్ గురించి, wheat గురించి, sugar cane, paddy, all the crops which are on the list of MSP, minimum support price, which are approximately 23 crops we'll talk about. Every crop ఏది ఎక్కువ ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ అవుతుంది? Out of all these, which crop is highest? Is it wheat? Is it sugarcane? Is it rice or barley? We'll talk about every point here. Okay. Next, according to the provisional data released by the Directorate General of Commercial Intelligence and Statistics, India achieved record exports of agricultural exports for the financial year, fiscal year 2022, which was the value. What is the value? So he's talking about the values and what export chesamo. What is the value of total agricultural economy, agricultural productivity? What we have exported to other countries, what is the total value to other countries, what we have exported, it's talking about that value. Okay, next one. So we'll be dealing about all those and clear ga agriculture guరించి మాట్లాడుతున్నప్పుడు. Okay, see and we'll tell you one thing. The point here is, because for every examination PYQs are very important. We are learning from PYQs. We are making sure that PYQs will help you to what? Crack this current affairs part. From my side, I'll do it. Okay, now who among the following is also called the father of wheat revolution? Is it Dilbag Singh Athwal, Varghese Kurian, Atmaram Bhairav Joshi, and Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar? Okay, so he's talking about what? Wheat revolution in India. Generally, the green revolution paved a way with respect to what? Wheat highest wheat production. Okay, green revolution. Okay, so he's talking about who's the father of wheat. In general, he's talking about who's the father of what? Wheat revolution. The next one. India is the world's largest producer of which of the following? Poultry, wheat, rice, almonds, and milk. Okay, so this is one thing you have to know with respect to milk, poultry, meat. Actually, meat is one thing, red meat is something where India is exporting a lot. Next one. What is India's ranking in 2022 global hunger index? Because agriculture గురించి అడిగాడు కాబట్టి ఇండియాలోనే అగ్రికల్చర్ సరిపోతుందా లేదా, సరిపోకపోతే ఎంతమంది హంగర్లో ఉంటున్నారు. Okay, that is what is they talking about. Global hunger index ప్రకారంగా what is India's rank. Next one, the National Commission on Farmers constituted in December 2004, which recommended the C2 plus 50% formula for calculation of the minimum support price. I talked about minimum support price. Was chaired by Yavaru. Okay, National Commission Farmers. Yavaru chairman adutunadu vaadu. Okay, next one, the biodecomposer technology to avoid stubble burning around the Delhi NCR was developed by Monsanto, Cargill, Biocon, ICR. General ga ee chusara ikkada biodecomposer technology to avoid stubble burning. Stubble burning is a major cause of pollution. దానికి ఆ స్టబుల్ బర్నింగ్ ని ఆపడానికి ఒక బయోడీకంపోజర్ పూస అని ఉంటుంది అన్నమాట, PUSA. అది ఎవరు కనిపెట్టారు? That is what they're talking about. Okay, yeah, so these are the questions. See, the areas where the questions are asked with respect to what? ఇక్కడ ఏమడిగాడు? అగ్రికల్చర్ గురించి అడిగాడు, స్పోర్ట్స్ గురించి అడిగాడు, టెక్నాలజీ గురించి అడిగాడు, పాలిటీ గురించి అడిగాడు, అండ్ వన్ ఈజ్ వాట్? A basic question on cryptocurrencies and all. So this is how the pattern was there, and if you keep on analyzing all the question papers, we'll get a cycle. So we'll focus on the cycle only very clearly. Okay, so that's it, and thanks for this session, and we'll meet later.